whatever. Okay, cool. That's cool. Hey, welcome to Level 3 Focus. My name is Ultra David. I hope that you enjoyed the last hour with James, going over some of the basics of execution. As you know, this show is intended to be not just for beginners, but for people more interested in higher level play, either watching higher level play or kind of figuring out how to get up to that area themselves, how to really start playing at a high level. And that's kind of appropriate for this week because this week saw the release of a brand new game. Street Fighter Cross Tekken is now out, and that means that I assume a lot of you have gotten the game. If not, I'm sure you're at least familiar with it. It's Capcom's new fighting game. And so I thought I would take the opportunity to talk about how I approach learning a new game. This is a game that seems to be built on the Street Fighter 4 game engine to at least some extent, but it's significantly different in lots of ways. Ways that mean that you have to play the game very differently, actually. And so it's a good little occasion to try out something new and tell you all how I go about it, doing it. This is something that I had to try out, when Soul Calibur 5 came out just recently. Something I also did when King of Fighters 13 came out not too long before that. So this year has had a lot of chances to have new games, and that's really cool because each game kind of teaches you something differently. Different games are played differently, and it's always really cool to see. So when I approach a new game, I kind of think that there are a few different philosophies for going about doing it that different people have. Some people are just kind of like the people who jump right in. The first thing they do when they get the game is they will go and play online or with a friend. Step one, pick a character that they like, just hop in and see what happens, and kind of screw around a little bit, test out some ideas of what they think will work, and see what does or doesn't work, and then kind of tailor their gameplay to fit that. Some other people will kind of go more into training mode, which is what I do. They're training mode monkeys at first. They're more about building theories beforehand and then testing them out like it was some science or something. And that's kind of what I do. There are also people who try to innovate and try new things and extend what we know about the game, which is something I also like trying to do. But then there are people who are very much top players but aren't really the people who come up with new technology. They'll kind of do what they know works and use it to win. And when they see somebody else coming up with some new stuff that they think is better or really good, then they'll kind of pick that up themselves and still be really good with it. So there are these different approaches, but the one that I like is to go into training mode first, and then kind of test stuff out and see what new things I can build and what cool technology there is. That's one of my favorite parts about fighting games, especially when a fighting game is new, is trying all that new stuff out. So there are a few different ways a few different methods that I use, or tools that I use, I should say. I use trials and a guide and training mode, and then playing people, and then watching other people play. That's kind of the progression that I tend to use. And in this game, that's kind of easy because the trial mode is actually okay. You can go in and test out CRC, what characters' moves are, their special moves, and some of their unique attacks and command normals, and see what some of their combos are, and that way you kind of get a feel for what the character can do. Here, actually, give me this thing. We have the game on already, since James had it. Yeah, switch over there. Loading. By the way, I can't believe that the Xbox actually red ringed last time. That's so weird. It's so weird. Whatever, bear. So this is what I did. Literally, the first thing that I did when I got the game, I just sat down and I didn't even bother with story or arcade mode. I don't think I've ever played arcade mode since, I don't know, since the arcades, I guess. Since the games get out on console, I don't think I've ever even played against a computer, unless I need to unlock things. So, I didn't know anything about, let's see, I haven't done hers, right? So I haven't even looked at what her trial mode is yet. I don't even know really what she does. I've played against her a couple of times, Lily, but I don't really know. So all I did was I went into training mode, into the trial, and just kind of like saw some stuff. That's what I tend to do. And let's see. Please load. All right. Submissive heal. I don't know what the crap this is. So I press back. Oh, okay. It's toward roundhouse. That's it. And I know that already, so I don't really need to hit Ryu. But I do anyway, just to kind of move on. At some point, when it starts to get to the special moves, I won't just go to the next one. So yeah, okay, this is either forward medium kick. Okay, cool. So now I kind of have an idea of what some of her normals look like, or what some of her command normals look like anyway. And at this point, like, I don't just care about, you know, the command normals, which I now see. I like just kind of like looking around, seeing what different buttons will do for me, whether there are other towards command normals. Well, I guess there are. Okay, there's one. In fact, is this what it wants me to do? No. Yeah. Yeah, so that's what it wants. Boom. And again, I just want to get like an idea of what the characters are, and I'm not gonna go through the whole Lily trial mode. It's kind of a waste of time. I just want to get to, yeah, okay. So here's special moves. So when I see a special move in trial, as soon as I clear this thing, I'm sure that that's what it is. I don't even look at the next move yet. I don't care whatever this is. Oh, okay, some crap. I look at what the different strengths do. And like, okay, so they seem to move about the same. Yeah, okay, well, you know, roundhouse is a little bit higher. Do they all knock down? Seems like they do. You know, what's canceled here? Okay, so, oh, that was something else. Oh, right. So I kind of see like which normals are now cancelable into a special. Okay, there's something else too. And that's all I do. I just kind of get this like general feel. And again, I'm not gonna go through this whole thing. Let's get out of here. But I want to go through the trial mode and like see what her combos basically are. I mean, obviously this is just the very beginning stuff, and ultimately we're going to be using combos that are very different than the ones that show up in these trial modes. But this is just kind of to get an idea, a basic idea of what a character can do. But then, like, but before really moving on into training mode and all that kind of stuff, I like to check out the guides. So like this one, if you guys haven't picked this up, the Brady guide, ooh, yeah, it's nice. Which Clockwork helped work on, which is awesome. You really gotta go pick that up because it's really useful. They've already done a lot of the work for you in terms of, you know, telling you what certain commands do, certain attacks do, what they can be useful for. They give you some ideas of what combos can be that are not just these trial mode combos, but a little bit more complex, and some cases, well, most cases actually, a little bit more useful. And so it's really helpful to just kind of read through that. And actually, I kind of treat these guides as like general reading material. Like, it's bathroom reading material for me. It's like what I read before I go to sleep sometimes. It's just kind of like something that I use to get a better idea, because the point is, early on, to just familiarize yourself with as much of the game as you can. You don't need to delve into one single character necessarily, in my view. You should be getting kind of a general idea of what as many characters as you can kind of like fit in your head do. And that's because, you know, you're going to be playing against a bunch of different characters, so that's really useful. But in addition to that, you might find that you like characters that you didn't expect. So if I come into a game expecting that I really like Zangief, which I usually do, and not thinking that I like somebody like Vega or, I don't know, King or something like that, I can just like check out the trial mode of that character and then look at the guide, and maybe there's something that I do like. So maybe I want to now bring that character onto my team or start using that character more as my main character. If you don't familiarize yourself with the characters to at least some fundamental basic degree, you're not really going to know which character you want to play, assuming that your concern is the gameplay of the character. If it's just that you like how a particular character looks or what their story is, that's totally fine. But I still think that you should make sure that you familiarize yourself with the rest of the cast so that at least you have a basic idea of how to fight against them. And I guess now I'm going to take a quick break, but when I come back, I want to get into training mode itself, because that's really the heart, to me, of looking at a new game and figuring out how to play it, going into that mode and just really kind of breaking down characters as much as you can and looking for combos and setups and all sorts of other good stuff that might not be immediately obvious. So we're going to take a quick break, and I'll be back after that. Cool, welcome back to Level 3 Focus. Again, we're just talking about games today, or playing new games for the first time and kind of figuring out how to approach playing a new game. So, what's the thing to get me over to the thing? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Alright, so here I am in training mode. This is basically the heart of the game to me as far as like a home console goes. Training mode is the biggest thing that separates the speed of development of modern fighting games compared to how fast they used to develop back when they were just in the arcades, and even early console games that didn't really have good training modes. Training mode allows you to do just a ton of things. You can test out theories. You can just screw around and see like what normals are and what they do, and have the time to tell a dummy to do a certain thing and then see what you can do to get around it. It's just extremely useful. You can look for combos and infinites and setups that would otherwise have taken a million years. Like, I know that we've talked about this before, but in Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, it wasn't until the game was several years old that in the US we really saw what a Ganajin combo looked like, or what a Urian unblockable setup really was. We just didn't really know about that stuff. And the reason is that, we had relatively few people. We also didn't really have media like streams and YouTube videos like we have today. But the main difference was that people just didn't really have the time to screw around and find setups on their own. They had to be playing against people every time that they played. The only way to do that, and I actually remember doing this, was showing up to an arcade early before you expect anybody else to be there, and put 2 quarters in the machine, one on your side and one on the opponent's side, and select the same character that you were interested in. And then what I would do is I would just like test stuff out, like combos and that kind of thing, until one of my characters was almost dead. And then I would go over to the other side and start, messing around on that character's side and testing stuff out until the other character was almost dead. And then I would kind of prolong the matches as long as possible, just testing stuff out. That was how I had to do it. And as soon as somebody else came into the arcade, that whole thing was done. I had to go back to betting a quarter that I would win every single game. And in that kind of situation, you don't really want to be testing as much as you otherwise would. And that's where training mode comes in. So the first thing I did when I got training mode in Street Fighter Cross Tekken was go to the characters that I had thought were interesting after looking through most of the cast in Trial and the guides. And no surprise, I tend to be a fan of the big old grappler types. And so this is kind of the team that I've settled on for now, although I'm looking for a way to get out of Zangief. So I'm actually not a huge Zangief fan in this game, which might be surprising. And then this is what I normally do too. Unless I specifically want to test something out, I'll go to just random select. The reason that I go to random select is that different characters have different hitboxes, and they can be hittable or not by different things, and setups might work differently, or they maybe have different options to get out of situations or whatever. And so I wanna be exposed to as many characters as possible. Okay, obviously I got Ryu Zangief. Great, it was gonna be like Yoshimitsu and like, no, it's Ryu. Awesome. Like everybody hasn't seen Ryu a million times. So once I'm in training mode, what I do is I just kind of like move around with the characters and see like what their movement options are. I like kind of dashing around a lot and jumping, and there actually is super jump in this game. You didn't know that? There is in fact super jump. Watch this. This is how I know. So okay, this is literally what I did the first time. Because this is the same stage even. Watch where Hugo's feet end up when he jumps into the air. Right? Okay, now watch where they end up. Right? It's like noticeably higher. Yeah, yeah. Oh. So yeah, that's kind of what you have to do, is look for that kind of thing, because some things are not immediately obvious. What I do then is just kind of look what his normals look like. Like, all right, this looks pretty slow. I'm never gonna use this ever in my whole life. I'm never gonna use this ever in my whole life. Like, I wanna kind of identify which moves I think are good and which are not. And what I'm looking for in particular is moves that I think will be good when I'm at this range. You know, kind of like in footsie sort of range, like this sort of thing. Moves that are good when I'm up here. And those are different things. James has gone over in the past how spacing is hugely influential in fighting games just in general. And so you have to know what it means to be at this distance, and what it means to be at this distance, and what it means here, and even there. So you gotta have all these kind of like planned out in your head. And, you know, okay, I'm moving around, all right. Like, so this is another thing that I found out early on with Hugo. He has neutral jumping splash. Okay, so first of all, this is his jump fierce. Jump fierce like this. And when he's jumping toward, he can do down fierce for splash. When he's neutral jumping, he can do down fierce for splash. When he's backwards jumping, he cannot do splash. And so it's just little things like that I look for. Specifically, the reason I was looking for that was I was looking for a way to deal with roll. Let's see. Knockdown recovery, forward. Okay, so boom. I wanted to like get a cross up, if possible. That's what I was thinking. I wanted to know like what Hugo could do if I expected that the opponent would roll. So first thing I thought of was, okay, how about I hit him with an ambiguous cross up? But he can't really do that. He actually doesn't have any jumping backwards attacks that have any kind of cross up capabilities. So you know, again, these are things that I'm thinking about. In this game, you know, you obviously have two characters. Here's Geef. He's a little bit different in this game than he was in Street Fighter 4. I kind of think that he's more defensive and has the unfortunate property of all of his combos knocked down, and things like command grabs, although yeah, that looks like pretty good damage. It's actually pretty ass in comparison to the rest of the cast, which is why I want to drop him. But yeah, so you know, you look for things that. So what I thought about with Geef, knowing him in Street Fighter 4, I wanted to find out, well, are all of his moves the same? Are the properties the same? One move that I hate in Street Fighter 4 is close standing fierce, because it's just you can't link after it. It's not cancelable in any way. It's just kind of there and taking up space. There's no reason for it. But in this game, you can actually, you see, that's actually a combo now. You can actually link. You can actually do that, which is pretty sick. That's something he didn't have in Street Fighter 4. So that's kind of what I'm looking for him. How are things different? And after a while of figuring it out, of figuring out what the movement options are, what the normals are, what the specials are, and what the properties are, they're a little bit different in this game too. Green hands are definitely safer on hit and block than they are in Street Fighter 4. Again, that's all stuff that I need to be figuring out. I can figure out that stuff in addition by looking at the guides, which is really useful. So now that I have kind of like the movement and normals sort of like a little bit figured out, what I want to do is start looking at setups and combos. These are like really the meat, I guess, after you have a basic idea of what the character does. Just do normal setup. So one reason that I really like Hugo in this game is that he has combos that don't knock down, which I think is really, really good. Here, let me show you why. In a knockdown combo, like let's see how I do this. Oh yeah, there's lag, I forgot. Well, whatever, you get the point. He got knocked down, and actually I think there's random, right? Yeah, random. This is the most annoying part. So I kind of have to like budget what I expect him to do. Oh, he keeps doing different things, and that can be really frustrating for me because I have to guess. Hugo has the benefit of being able to stand in the middle of a character who's waking or standing or rolling, and you can see in both cases he has the range to deal with it, but it's kind of a rarity. So instead what I want to do, what I thought about was, well, how about if I don't knock the opponent down? Is there any way to deal damage without knocking the opponent down? And again, one of the reasons that I like Hugo is that he actually can do that. Let's see. God, I always forget that there's lag. Yeah, the lag is really bad on this TV. Anyways, so you get the point. He does this huge damage combo. It's like 500 by himself, and he ends up right here, which is sick. Like, look at this positioning that I have now on the opponent. I can like harass them with jabs and shorts. I can cancel stuff in the meat squasher. I'm also in range for freaking get over there. God, I hate roll. Don't roll. Yes. I'm also in range for overhead and for sweep and all sorts of good stuff. So that's why that's what I thought about. But in general, what I want to be doing in training mode is kind of thinking about how I expect the game to go and learning about how I expect the game to go. So when I first heard about rolls, I thought, well, that actually might not be great for meaty situations. What can I do about that? How can I kind of get around that? And I started thinking, well, okay, maybe there are moves that can reset the opponent out of the air. Like maybe if I go like this and I press jab. Really? Seriously, that laggy? Okay, maybe if I press jab, he gets reset out of the air and stands on his feet again, and that way he can't roll. It doesn't work like that in this game. It does work like that in other games, but not here. So what else can I do? I can just look for good situations that I can be at after a knockdown, or I can just not deal with knockdown in general. These are the kind of ideas that you have to be thinking about when you're in training mode. Identifying how the game works, and then looking for ways to get through or to get over whatever it is you're having issues with, or to abuse whatever awesome stuff that you find. So, well, that whole thing does work, and it's like 700 damage. And so that's what I found. Now I'm Zangief, and I'm right here. After 2 meters and 700 damage, I end up with Gief, like right here. And that's because I had this idea of how to approach it, and I looked at how the game worked and figured out what to do. I guess I'll take a quick break, but I want to talk more about training mode and how to find stuff out as far as combos go and particular setups go. We'll be right back with all that. Hey, howdy do. Welcome back to Level 3 Focus. So we're talking about training mode, and I want to talk in particular about figuring out the combo system. If you read the guide, you'll get a basic understanding of how some of the combos work, especially if you go through the trials, you'll figure out how they work. But those are combos that they tell you how to do, and so you kind of know that they'll work. But I think it's just as important to familiarize yourself with how the game works, kind of experimentally, because games always have rules. It's just a set of rules, like in a strategy game, that happen to have this like graphical representation. It's like how I think about it. And when you look at a game in the combo system, you have to know how the combo system works so that you can build the best combos. Again, I like being one of the guys who figures out how the game works and builds this new technology. I think that's really, really fun. So what I did was I went in here with Hugo, and I went boom. Oh, but I got the crouching jab and the crouching jab, but not the crouching strong. So what's the deal? Like, why can I get one? Oh, freaking the lag. Oh my god. Dude, it's so bad. We really gotta fix that. At some point we will. Yeah, okay, so there you can see I got 2 crouching jabs and then not a crouching strong. So what's the deal with crouching strong? Maybe it has some particular property that makes it so it won't juggle. Maybe it has some property that I don't know about. Or maybe there's just a juggle limit that I ran into. I can no longer keep the opponent airborne. A lot of games are like that. You just have to kind of figure that stuff out. So then what I did was... Wow, that's actually spinning pile driver. Alright, well anyway, that works. The backbreaker works. And so I was very confused as to why I could get that whole string, but not just a crouching jab, crouching strong. What was the deal? And at first I thought maybe there was a juggle limit, but I thought that would be harder to test out. So instead what I did was, well, maybe it has some weird property that it like can't hit the opponent out of the air. You know what? That is exactly right. It cannot hit the opponent out of the air. I don't know why. I don't know if that's a bug or what the heck. You can see I can get crouching jab out of the air just fine. It's like no big deal. But crouching strong will not hit out of the air. I don't know why. It is very weird. I'm not really sure what the heck is happening. But it's important. So like the only reason I know that is that I just kind of thought about like maybe that's the issue. Like it shouldn't be the issue, but maybe they coded certain moves to not have any kind of juggle properties at all. And it seems like exactly what they did. So then, how is that useful to me? Well, now I know that means that I can't use crouching strong in any kind of juggles or as an anti-air. Those are two really important little bits of information that I need to kind of file away in my brain. Because now, I know that I'm not going to get any crouching strong here. Like in this situation, right? I can't do that, but I can do. Hold on. Whatever, you already saw me do it. Yeah, there you go. So why, it's just weird, but that's what you need to know to kind of tailor your stuff around the game. And so then I went over to Zangief, and I was like, what's my max damage thing with Zangief? Well, okay, I can do this. I can knock him up into the air. I can't really do anything after that. Why is that? I don't really know, but through kind of experimenting, I can figure out some ways around it. So even though I can only get 2 of those, if freaking the chain. This is a terrible idea, doing this live. Considering both lag and my hand, it's awful. Anyways, the point is that you just have to kind of figure out how the game works and how the combo system works so that you can build better combos on your own. Because early on, you're not going to have people to tell you what the combos are unless you're particular characters. Like, okay, I can go into the Ryu form, which has 10 billion people in there, and like figure out what to do. That's obvious. But if I'm playing a character like Zangief, that doesn't really have much of a following, other than certain dedicated people, then I'm kind of have to be on my own or hope that there's somebody who just happens to take an interest in building combos and setups for that character. Like I've been talking with Veserius online on Secret Chan about Hugo because he's playing Hugo and he has a lot of similar ideas about how the game should be played. So luckily there is somebody that I could talk to about Hugo, but I don't know who to talk to about this dude. So I have to kind of figure out my own thing. I didn't know that this worked. Oh. There you go. There it is. I had to just figure it out myself. Can you see what super jump with Zangief looks like? Sure. Here's normal jump. And that's super jump. Very slight difference with Zangief. But it's there. You can see it a little bit. So then, I start looking for setups. And I kind of have an idea in my mind of what I need to be doing. So if I'm playing against Ryu, okay, I haven't played the game yet, but I kind of assume that Ryu wants to zone me out. Now, that's just how it goes in like every game that these two characters have shown up in. So my question is, what can I do to get around it? I kind of know as Zangief because I've been playing this guy since 2008 in Street Fighter 4. But what can Hugo do? I don't really know. Let's see. So this is an extremely important part of training mode. Let me backdash a little bit. Using the dummy is super, super important because it's a way to allow yourself to test out things that you might be having trouble with. I'm not really sure what to do about that, just at first glance. I have a guy whose move speed is like this, and I have a guy whose jump is like that. It moves like negligible distance forward. It's terrible. So what can I do? Right? Well, okay, it turns out that has 1 hit of armor on it, and I can backdash, cancel it, because it's his charge move. This is the lariat, by the way, quarter circle forward kick. And that's nice. Okay, cool, I can run through. Rad. I can also jump. I can also... Let's see if this works. Okay, cool, it does. Doesn't work like that. It works like that. And so I kind of figure out what the timings are for ways to get around it. And in using the dummy like this, you can test out ways to get around fireballs, yeah, but you can also do more elaborate things. Like you can do like, all right, is this a safe jump timing anymore? No, it's not. Oh yeah, anymore. In any case, you can set up the opponent to do what you think is a safe jump timing, and then see what your character's options are around it. Or even better, you can set your own character as the dummy, and then, oh, actually, you know what? That did happen here. That's pretty fortuitous. Cool. So my character Zangief is the dummy, and now what I want to do is see how the opponent deals with my setups, just to see if they're any good. So I get a sweep. Splash. Let's see if that was actually a safe jump timing. Yeah, pretty much. So the question is, what can I do about this as Hugo? I don't know. I've actually never run this setup yet. It seems like I can do a lariat. That's pretty sick. Can I do EX backbreaker? I can. And so this is a way to test out your own safe jump timings, to make sure that they're safe jump timings. It's a way to test out option selects and all sorts of good setups like that. So training mode can be really, really, really helpful for you. But at some point, you got to stop it with the theories and like test stuff out. So I had this whole set of ideas about how I should be playing against Jin, because I've played against Jin quite a bit. Just happens to be a popular character online, and after I kind of had these ideas about how I should play him after kind of running through the trials and the guide, and it turned out that when I ran into a player who was good with Jin, I played Flo yesterday or a couple days ago online quite a bit, and it turned out to be a little bit different than I expected. So I had these theories. They didn't pan out. What do I do about that? Well, the best thing to do is just go back to training mode. And I'm going to show you one thing in particular that's been really frustrating to me. And kind of use it as an example. So you don't need to just be looking at or coming up with stuff when you're actually in training mode or when you're actually playing. I was thinking about this earlier today when I was at work. I was literally working on a contract, and I was like, man, I was having a tough time getting around those Jin fireballs as Hugo. I don't really know what to do. Like, what can I do? And so I thought about what I might be able to do, and I haven't had the time to test this yet because I came straight here from work. So let's see. This would be, I don't even know how to do it. Yeah, okay, jab. So I'm going to set out a jab. Oh, actually, you know what? This is a nice little way to time. I'm going to do neutral jump and land. Oh, crap. Neutral jump and then fireball. And the reason that that's useful, oh, I just got rid of my own recording. The reason that that's useful is that you know as your own character when exactly the fireball is going to be coming. Okay. So now I have this fireball right here. And let me show you why it was really annoying to get around it. Oh, his jump is so terrible that he literally can't jump over it. He really can't do it. Yeah, so, okay, I'm going to try super jump. Let's see if this works. I think I actually did try this. Oh, it looked like it disappeared. Ooh, that looks like it actually works. That's pretty sick. But something else I thought about is something that works in a lot of other... When characters do normals in the air, they alter where their hitboxes are. So you can see where Hugo's are, basically. It's like from his feet to his head, more or less. But when I do this, they extend very far forward, and they kind of rise up in the air a little bit. So maybe this works. I don't really know. Nah, because he extends backwards too, so that sucks. Well, maybe there's something in like light kick or light... Ooh, that actually looks like it might be useful. Ooh, yeah. Boom. Ooh, right? Look at that. That's sick. No, maybe not. Yeah, I was just getting the timing right. Maybe, yeah. No, okay, I'm gonna say that works a little bit better than I had before. So I ran into this problem in Flow, who zoned the crap out of my Hugo with Jin, and it was a frustrating matchup. And I didn't really know what to do about fireballs other than literally this, like get hit, so that I could roll forward. That was like the best that I could come up with, and it's like not really good. So now I have a better idea, and this kind of goes to show you that you can be thinking about this stuff at any time of the day. It's something that if you care about the game, you might want to be thinking about. And I can't help but think about this stuff like at all annoying times, even like very frustrating times. It's like always in my thoughts. So I can go home and go to training mode and check this out. And that's something that comes about through both competition and training mode. What I'm going to do now is ask Flo to play and see if my new super jump light punch deals with his zoning any better than I could deal with it before. My guess is that it'll deal a little bit better with it, but it's not going to be super important. It'll just be like a nice little trick on the margins that will help me out a little bit. That's really nice. It might not be matchup changing, but it's nice. And it's something that you have to be really thinking about when you approach a new game. Because, again, nobody's going to be building these things for you for most characters. Some characters will have like their specialists that'll be like really useful and tell you stuff on the forums, and they'll be really nice guys about it. But you can't really count on that. And so instead you have to come up with your own stuff. And it's not just useful for that, it's useful because it means that you have a deeper understanding of the game mechanics, of the various matchups, and that those are really both useful and important things if you want to actually get good at the game. I also, again, I've been looking for ways to deal with people who are rolling away all the time, because my little setups didn't really work that well. Like I was saying, I had this idea of using jump back normals or whatever to deal with people who are rolling, and I just didn't think that was good enough. So instead, I thought about keeping the opponent grounded, and I want to build the team that has the longest non-knockdown, most damaging combo that is practical and also leaves my second character in a good mix-up position. No. So something I thought about was Geef. Like I showed you, it was Geef, but Geef's mix-ups aren't super damaging in this game, I guess, compared to a lot of other characters. So I thought about, I don't know, maybe Vega. Maybe Vega has some good crap. I don't know. Maybe some Tekken character does too. I actually don't really know yet. I'm looking at Law. I'm looking at a lot of other characters too for this. Poison even. A lot of potentials that I have to kind of go to work on tonight. I'm not going to do it right now because that's going to be boring for you. But later tonight when I get home, I'm going to go into training mode and try this stuff out. I was just thinking about Vega. Like maybe I know Vega has roll that does a lot of hits and it keeps the opponent grounded. Maybe I can use that. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, well, I screwed up at the end, but I feel like that should be a combo. Was that not a combo?
How unpleasant.
Really? Oh, I didn't go into launcher there, but I don't know. Anyway, you get the point. I'm looking for setups. Having identified an issue, I want to see how I can get around it. Okay, cool. So I just did 589 damage, and I'm still standing, and I'm right here. That's pretty nice. I feel like I could probably do better than that, but and I'm not going to do that right now, but I feel like I could do better than that. So I'm going to go home and look for better setups and better combos and better team compositions. This is kind of what I'm thinking about when I'm in training mode in a new game. How to be approaching the game, how to approach my characters, figuring out ways to deal with the opponent's getup and all sorts of normals that they have. Like if I run into a character that has some really frustrating normal that I don't really know what to do with, it seems to beat all my stuff, I'm just going to set the opponent to do I don't think Steve is an issue for that. But I'm going to be like, okay, how do I get around Steve Stand Fierce? I'm going to be like, okay, there it is. Let's see, maybe this works. Oh, it does, because, again, I didn't expect Steve Stand Fierce to be that good. But the point is that I want to be testing out all this stuff to just know as much as possible about the game. That's my approach early on. Okay, so I'm going to take one last break before getting out of here. And when I come back, I want to talk about watching videos and how that can be really, really useful. Okay, cool. Yeah, microphone good. Welcome to Level 3 Focus again. We've been talking about how to approach a new game using the example of Street Fighter Cross Tekken, but I don't want to just talk about it as the only new game out. It's kind of unfortunate timing for Soul Calibur 5 that this game comes so closely on its heels. It seems like just a few weeks ago we had Flo on here talking about how to approach that game. And here we are with you know, a new game that has kind of taken the wind out of its sails a little bit. But you know, you need to. The point is, whenever there's a new game, you got to try this kind of stuff out. I tried doing it for Soul Calibur 5, even though that's much more foreign to me than this Capcom fighter is, where even though there are new mechanics, I have kind of a basic idea of how I expect stuff to work. Same thing with King of Fighters 13, which just came out a couple months ago on console. It's really a good game. If you haven't played it, I very, very strongly suggest that you buy that game and try it out and try to get involved in that scene. Super awesome game that doesn't get the respect that it deserves. But when I was trying to get into that game, it was really nice that, you know, that game has kind of a little bit more in-depth tutorial mode that you can, you know, you can go into like some of the game mechanics, and like it'll have you test out the supers and stuff like that, and that's really cool. I really appreciated that. I really love in-depth training modes and trial modes and that kind of stuff. For Skullgirls coming out not too long from now, I think actually at the end of this month it's supposed to be. That's what I heard. I don't know if that's accurate or not. But in any case, it should be coming out pretty soon. They're supposed to have a great training mode for that, so hopefully getting into that game won't be all that difficult. But if you don't have access to that stuff, you know, guides, training mode, competition, all things that we went over already. And now I want to talk about videos and kind of watching other people play. This is something that I've talked about before in games that we already knew about how to play. I did it for Street Fighter 4 and also for Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Definitely neither one is a fully explored old game. They both have characters and setups that I have no doubt we'll find 5 years from now. I mean, the games are just very, 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 very complex, and they evolve a lot. So it's always important to keep up with videos. But the reason that it's super important early on is that you get to see an idea of people who have put in the same kind of time that you have with your character, but with other characters. So I'm putting in all this time with Hugo and Zangief and whoever else the new character that I'm going to pick is. But I'm not putting in that kind of time with like Yoshimitsu or with Raven or with, you know, I don't know, Rolento, whatever. I can instead watch other people play and get an idea for how they think those characters should be played. And that might not be how I think that those characters should be played. Like maybe somebody plays like some insane rushdown Rolento. I don't really think that's how he should be played, but it's an interesting idea, and maybe they're right. And so it's really useful to see that stuff. You also get a feel for how those characters might fare against your character if you happen to see a matchup between like you know, Raven and a Hugo or Yoshi and a Hugo, whatever the matchup is. And that's also really useful too. And if it's somebody who's really, really good, like KD won, you know, the Super Arcade tournament last weekend with Zangief Hugo, which is random that, you know, somebody else would pick my team in reverse order, but it was really cool to see Clayke's take on Hugo. And by cool, I mean like really frustrating. Like, wow, that looks super cheap. Like, I'm not sure I want to be playing this character. I don't know. But it's really cool to see that kind of stuff. And very, very useful. So make sure that you are watching videos in this new game, or if you're, you know, interested still in playing Soul Calibur 5. I don't want to make it seem like that game is dead at all. It's a game that I really like and expect to have a strong future for. If you like, you know, either of those games or KOF 13 or Marvel or Street Fighter 4 or whatever, make sure that you're watching other people play so that you get an idea of how their characters play, how the matchups go, if they have any cool trick or like system abuse that you hadn't thought of, like some option select or just like a new way to deal with the juggle system. Those are all things that you can try out on your own, but that hopefully you get to see when you're watching videos. It's also really important to know that you don't have to spend all day in the lab to be coming up with stuff. Like I said, I was literally doing work earlier today, and I started thinking about ways to deal with Hugo's inability to jump over Jin's fireball. So you can just be coming up with stuff whenever, coming up with ideas. If you've spent the time to understand how the game engine works and how the characters work, then you can kind of think about options in your head already. Let's go over to dissolve. No, it's cool. I got it. I figured it out. Yeah, I'm proud of me. And now I don't even remember why I went over here. So I was so proud of being able to actually like switch the shot that I forget what I was gonna say. That's cool. I don't know, whatever, it probably doesn't matter. In any case, I also want to say that online play is really, really useful. Online play is a way to test out stuff and to see new stuff, kind of like in videos, because it's like not, you know, you can't really take how an online match goes as how a match really goes, because there's always a bit of lag, and the other person on the other side might not be taking it very seriously, and you might not be taking it very seriously either, but it's a way to see new things and to test out new things. Like I was talking about me against Flo, we just played online, we didn't actually meet up, but nevertheless, it was enough for me to see that there was a problem that I needed to identify and needed to find a solution for. So that's stuff that I've seen the whole time when I'm playing online. Whenever I run into a new character, like I ran into a Julia yesterday. I don't know like how that character works. I have no idea. So after I got my butt kicked, I went into training mode and kind of figured her out. I had already done her trial, but like wasn't super useful for figuring out how that character works. Training mode was more effective for me, doing what I showed you with Hugo, doing that kind of thing with her, and finding out what her setups are and where I would need to worry about blocking, or where I think that I can escape, all that kind of stuff. And the reason that I did that was that I saw it online and knew that it was an issue, that I didn't know how to deal with it, and worked to overcome it. So okay, I guess I'm about out of time, but I do want to say that I'd like to do what James has been doing in terms of asking people to come to him with questions that he will then answer on stream. If you'd like to ask some question to me about kind of higher level play stuff, you know, James is focusing more on lower level play or beginner play, and I'm trying to focus more on, you know, mid to high level play. If you have a question that you think is good for that, you know, tweet to me at UltraDavid, or tweet to both of us at UltraChen using the hashtag AskUltraDavid, or you can send an email to me at ultrachentv@gmail.com with the subject line of Ask UltraDavid. And whatever it is, if it's a good question, I'll answer it on stream. I'll try to answer ones that I don't answer on stream in email. If it's a crappy joke question, then I don't know, go to hell, I guess. Whatever. But I'd love to see you know, good questions that I can answer. If somebody has a question, it probably means that a lot of other people do, and it'd be good to just kind of know exactly what everybody is worried about and thinking about, so that I can better know how to, you know, address stuff on this show. All right, I guess that's it for Level 3 Focus for today. Remember to catch us tomorrow, the UltraChen TV show that happens to be on the second day of the week, which we still don't have an actual name for. That will be tomorrow, and then we're going to be, of course, every Wednesday night we go to Wednesday Night Fights, which you definitely want to tune in for at Level Up, what is it, twitch.tv/levelupseries? Level Up Live. Level Up Live. So, you know, we do this, I don't know, man, we're on stream like 3 to 5 nights every week. Every week. It's awesome, actually. I love doing it. And look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a good night.